Hello Philippines and hello world. I am your host Shireen, taking you through this show. Welcome to the Glitz Talk. I came upon this Philippine historical controversy and socio-economic and political issues called the Philippine Agrarian Reform. Some of you might have heard of it, but for the benefit of the doubt, let's take a look at this clip.
70% of the poverty nandoon sa agricultural sector. They don't own a land. The land reform was a farce, not because it was not given, or indeed there was really a ceremony to do that, but the problem again is that there was no support from them.
Today, with the help of our special guest, we'll be talking about the Philippine Agrarian Reform under former President Benigno AQUINO III, its role, importance, and effects in our country. Let's have a big round of applause to the representative historians, Ms. Hazel M. Bautista, Ms. Janine Martin, and Mr. Carl James Vidal. Welcome to the show, Ms. Hazel, Ms. Janine, and Mr. CJ. Thank you for being with us here today. It is a pleasure to meet all of you.
The pleasure is ours, Ms. Shireen.
Thank you for having us here.
Now we're going to start with Ms. Hazel Ann. Now tell us, what exactly is Philippine Agrarian Reform?
Well, it is the policy of the state to pursue a CARP or the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program. The welfare of landless farmers and farm workers will receive a highest consideration to promote social justice and to move the nation toward the sounds of rural development and industrialization. That's the Philippine Agrarian Reform.
Under Pinoy, what agrarian reform is in critical condition?
This was the pledge made by President Aquino during his third State of the Nation speech in July 2012. Farmers shall own the land they till. Sabi niya nga, tatapusin ko ang pamahagi ng lupa sa ilalim ng carper sa aking panunungkulan. The Aquino administration still has a number of enormous duties and obstacles to complete before the land component is required to terminate on June 30, 2014, which is less than 2 years away. Under President Aquino, the government must successfully complete land distribution, carry out CARPA reforms such as provisions that support rural women's access to land, support services, socialized credit, and initial capitalization for new and existing agrarian reform beneficiaries, and broaden the scope of support services beyond agrarian issues.
Under the administration of former President Benigno Aquino III, the implementation of land reform is considered what?
The implementation of land reform under President Benigno III is the worst since 1988, according to Save Agrarian Reform Alliance or SARA, a national coalition group of farmers and NGOs, including Philippines, which is also campaigning for the implementation of agrarian reform.
What have the little farmers and fishermen of Pinoy accomplished in terms of administration?
One of the specific goals of President Trump's administration is to achieve inclusive economic growth. The agricultural industry is gaining strength under Benigno Aquino III. Making credit more accessible to small farmers and fishermen has been identified as one of the key for achieving this. This will aid in the improvement of their productivity and, as a result, the improvement of their household incomes.
What impact did Aquino's disregard for agrarian reform have here in the Philippines?
This apparent lack of political will has fatal consequences for more than 1.1 million farmers who are still struggling for their rightful access to lands. In the past years, peasant leaders have been killed by armed goons hired by landlords. Rural communities also face the threat of eviction from lands they have been tilling for generations, as well as reversal of decisions and land conversions.
Has Aquino implemented the agrarian reform completely?
The Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program The flagship initiative of his mother's administration would be finished by President Benigno Aquino III before he leaves the office in 2016. And the militants have charged the president with protecting his family's Haciendas Luisita from agrarian reform implementation.
What lesson on the Aquino administration's failure to incorporate agrarian reform teach our future presidents about how to keep agrarian reform in place?
It's obvious that we must give everything we do our complete attentions and commitment. Let's do a good job at what we're doing and keep looking for answers to the issues that our society, particularly our farmers, are experiencing.
Well, thank you, Ms. Hazel, Ms. Janine, and Mr. CJ. I know that I've learned a lot from you today, especially the people who's watching us today. Well, it's time to wrap up the show.